Today, I'm excited to share our latest breakthrough in natural language understanding, LaMDA.
Tech firms are reviving and relaunching their interest in their own AI programs. And the reason? ChatGPT's unmatched performance. And LaMDA AI from Google is one such AI program that has recently attracted new interest. There are many natural language models out there, but this model from Google is unique in that it can generate human-like responses to natural language inputs, and it was trained on dialogue, not text. So what is Google LaMDA AI and what is it capable of? Join as we delve in deeper. So, LaMDA, Google's latest breakthrough in natural language understanding, was unveiled by Google CEO Sundar Pichai at Google I/O 2021. It is essentially a chatbot driven by machine learning that can speak generally about any subject, similar to IBM's Watson but with stronger language recognition and language generation abilities. In 2022, Google unveiled LaMDA 2, an improved version of the conversational AI, at Google I/O. To lessen the possibility of inappropriate or offensive replies, Google let thousands of Googlers test it. And LaMDA 2, which functions as an advanced all-purpose chatbot, appears to have many of the same features and characteristics as the original. So what is LaMDA? Before looking into what LaMDA is, let's look into what a language model is. In simple terms, it's a mathematical function that specifies an expected outcome relating to predicting what the words in a sequence that follow will be. It can also predict what will come after that word and even the likely layout of the paragraphs that follow. A conversational language model needs to be able to understand ideas like multimodal user intent, reinforcement learning, and suggestions for when the conversation should go to unrelated subjects. So LaMDA AI, which stands for Language Model for Dialogue Application, is a conversational large language model, or simply called LLM, which was developed by Google as the underlying technology to support dialogue-based apps that can produce human-sounding language. LaMDA is one of the products of Google's Transformer Research Program, a study in natural language processing that served as the basis for the development of various language models, notably GPT-3, which is the technology that underlines ChatGPT. LaMDA is just a fascinating new tool with an outstanding capacity to parse queries and produce remarkably spontaneous replies that strayed from the domain of pure fact. This isn't the kind of chatbot that replies to a weather query with a list of numbers, as Pichai has said. Instead, it has a little more style or insight and is better equipped to simulate how we actually use language. LaMDA is among the most potent language models in the world, even if it might not be as well known as OpenAI's GPT family of language models. Even one of Google's employees, Blake Lemoine, asserted that LaMDA AI model is sentient, which is quite an incredible achievement. Blake Lemoine wanted to imply that LaMDA AI is sentient when he said that the AI chatbot can feel much as a human would and may even be able to have a soul in some unknown way. Finally, he engaged the model in a series of quite complex talks that sounded human. So now, why is LaMDA used for? One of the most widely used LaMDA AI implementations is Google's 2023 release of Bard, which is an AI chatbot similar to ChatGPT. And the goal is to make the AI system the foundation of a wide range of Google services, enabling Google products to have dialogues that sound human with their consumers. Although Google has made hints about a variety of possible product lines that LaMDA could be used on, the majority of what is currently available is essentially experimental, even if LaMDA AI itself is still being developed and tuned. Now, how was LaMDA trained? LaMDA and other language models like MUM and GPT-3 are built using the Transformer Neural Network architecture for language comprehension, and the LaMDA model has been taught to comprehend the context of a discussion. And according to Google's explanation, LaMDA, unlike most other language models, was trained on dialogue. It picked up on several of the nuances that distinguish open-ended conversation from other forms of language during its training. Sensibility is one of those nuances. Simply put, does the response to a specific conversational context make sense? Satisfying responses are also specific, referring directly to the context of the conversation. For the pre-training phase of LaMDA, the Google team assembled a dataset of 1.56 trillion words from various publicly accessible web documents. This dataset was then tokenized into 2.81 trillion tokens, which are used to train the model. Tokenization is the process of turning a string of characters into a phrase. To predict the next part of the dialogue based on previously seen tokens, the model uses broad and scalable parallelization during pre-training. And throughout the fine-tuning stage, LaMDA was instructed to carry out generation and classification tasks. The LaMDA generator that forecasts the dialogue can produce a number of pertinent responses based on back-and-forth discussion. Moving on, the LaMDA classifiers will then forecast the degree of safety and quality for each response. Prior to choosing the highest scoring answer to continue the dialogue, any response with a low safety score is eliminated. The percentages are determined by safety, sensibility, specificity, and interest, and the objective is to deliver the most pertinent, excellent, and ultimately safe response. Now, why does LaMDA seem to understand conversation? BERT is a model that has been taught to interpret the meaning of ambiguous expressions, and LaMDA is a model that has been taught to comprehend the dialogue's context. LaMDA is able to maintain conversational flow and give the impression that it is listening and exactly responding to what is being said due to its ability to comprehend the context. It has been trained to recognize whether a response is appropriate given the context or whether it is only appropriate in that context. Now let's look into how LaMDA works. LaMDA has been trained to look for phrase patterns and even relationships between the many words that are used in sentences. It is also capable of foretelling words. This is achieved by using datasets composed of dialogue rather than individual words to analyze. While a conversational AI system and chatbot software are similar, there are some key distinctions. For instance, chatbots can only conduct a restricted discussion depending on the data and specific questions they're trained on. Why? Because they are only trained on a small, unique dataset. LaMDA, on the other hand, is trained on multiple datasets and can engage in open-ended dialogues. During the training process, it picks up on the subtleties of open-ended conversation and adapts. It can address inquiries on a variety of subjects depending on how the conversation is going, and because of this, it allows dialogues that are more comparable to human connection than chatbots can offer. There are three main objectives designed for training the model, which are quality, safety, and groundedness. The quality score is used to make sure that a response makes sense given the situation in which it is used, that it is pertinent to the question posed, and that it is deemed insightful enough to promote greater conversation. This is based on three attributes of human raters: sensibleness, specificity, and interestingness. In the safety objective, LaMDA model follows responsible AI guidelines to guarantee safety, wherein a list of safety objectives is used to record and examine the behavior of the model. This guarantees that there are no unintended repercussions and no bias in the outcome. Moving on, groundedness is the proportion of responses that make assertions about the outside world. By doing this, it is feasible to make sure that responses are as factually accurate as possible, allowing users to judge response validity based on its source's reliability. We have GPT and many other chatbots available. So what makes LaMDA so unique? Being able to judge whether a talk is appropriate is what it is. Most conventional chatbots are not sufficiently sophisticated to conduct conversations on their own, with the exception of a few pre-programmed dialogues. LaMDA, on the other hand, doesn't rely on a series of conversations that must be repeated repeatedly, and it is able to deliver considerably more precise responses by identifying which words are related to the context of a particular conversation, and for this it has received the best training. LaMDA offers certain key benefits that set it apart from its rivals when compared to other well-known models like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google's own BERT. First of all, because of its size and characteristics of its training dataset, it has an exceptional awareness of context, allowing it to produce replies that are more realistic than those produced by other models. Another benefit is that it may be readily adjusted with little data requirement. Due to the lack of a significant amount of training data or computational resources, it is now simpler for developers to swiftly construct unique applications. In addition to that, LaMDA does not need any pre-training processes before usage, in contrast to certain models that do, such as BERT or GPT-3, which rely significantly on pre-trained components, which can save time and money when developing applications. New innovations are continually being produced as the field of AI keeps developing quickly. Google LaMDA's language model for dialogue apps is one of the field's most recent and important breakthroughs, and many think it has the potential to develop into a crucial instrument in the field of AI and open the door to later, more advanced human-machine interactions. What do you think? Do let us know in the comments.